Hello everyone, how's everyone today? Welcome to the Dirt Road Farmer, commercial farming. Well, uh, I thought that we'd make a video out of this. We just got done harvesting soybeans off of this 478 acres of soybeans that we harvested. Excuse me, I'm sorry. So, we wanted to get it replanted in corn. That way we'll have it included in next year's harvest. You know what I mean? So, anyway, that's what we're doing. And we've got 3 of these John Deere planters in here. And they are skipping a row as they go across this field. And then they'll come back and start picking up the rows that they skipped. So we can jump out and see what we're doing. Alright, let's turn the HUD on. And it looks like we're planting corn. We're at 100% fertilized and 100% yield bonus. So yeah, everything is looking real good. So we're going to let these guys go ahead and get along. I'm looking at we're going to need some more straw for our cows. And then we have we have both. We have a barley field and we have a wheat field. I only need the straw for the cows off of one field. And I'm thinking about getting into baling and selling straw. So let me know what you think about that. You know, there's not a lot of money in straw, but I'm thinking about doing it because on those 2 fields, it's not like I need the chopped straw mod. Now, it is nice to have the chopped straw mod, but we have slurry from all of our cows, and that's free. You know, we can put slurry on that field and have free fertilizer, just like we could if we had the chopped straw mod giving us our first stage of fertilizer. The only difference being, if we come in and fertilize, put the first stage of fertilizer down with slurry, then we have to change the ground texture before we plant. That's the only difference. But that's not really a big deal, you know. So yeah, leave me a comment and let me know what you think. And I'll get back with you here in just a little bit. All right. Well, it looks like these guys are doing pretty good. I don't know if you noticed or not, but I have switched planters. If you remember me talking about when we planted the 3,500 acres of corn over in the field on the far side of the farm. Do you remember me saying that I had problems and I had to fire 2 of the employees and all that? Yeah. Well, I had more than one problem. And I don't know. It seemed like that those planters was what was causing the problem. Now, it could be. You know, I mean, There could be a problem with that planter and this map. It could be all in the planter on its own. Maybe the planter just, had something wrong with it. I don't know. What I do know is whenever I planted the second half of that field, which was another 3,500 acres, I went and bought these planters and never had not a moment worth of problems at all. So these planters aren't as big, but there's no problems with them. And look at the animation on them. Look at those rows. Isn't that great? That is fantastic. Each one of them is independently doing its thing, planting. That's great. So anyway, I wanted to let you know that I did switch planters, and these seem to be doing a much better job, much better. So, but we're gonna go ahead and let these guys run full steam ahead. We do have rain in the forecast. They're forecasting somewhere around 10 o'clock. And if we look at the HUD, it's 9:15 now. Yeah. So maybe if it does start raining, maybe these guys can go ahead and get this field completed, and it doesn't get too wet out here from the plant. Now, if we was harvesting, that would be a different story. We would be shut down. But as long as it doesn't get too muddy and too wet out here, these guys can go ahead and finish planting in the rain. We'll just find out. So anyway, I'll get back with you here in just a few moments. All right, well, these guys are getting right on along with it. Won't be long and they'll be over to the other side of the field. Then they'll be coming back, planting all the rows that they're skipping. It's amazing to me how technology has changed our lives. Some of it is great. Actually, one could argue the point that some of it is just downright fantastic, And there are also arguments on how some of the technology that we have today is maybe doing more harm. Now, I don't have an opinion one way or the other. Yes, the technology in our automobiles today, even though they cost 3 and 4 times more than they used to, and maybe 5 times more than they used to at least, I can honestly say that the technology has made a big difference in that, in our automobiles. I remember back whenever I was young and we were, we're talking about the older cars. I've always said, well, what was wrong with the 57 Chevy? Well, it wasn't just, it was no particular automobile brand But whenever your car got to the point of having 100,000 miles on it, back in the late 60s, early 70s, it was due for an overhaul, or you needed to trade vehicles because you didn't have much life left in that vehicle, you know. So technology today at 100,000 miles, there's not a thing wrong with that vehicle. So even though that I just don't have an opinion about it, I can observe and you know, and see what technology has done that I've noticed. But you know, even playing games, entertainment, technology is it has greatly improved, I guess. Look at Farming Simulator. Now this is absolutely amazing to me. Of course, you know, I'm old school, you know, and I never dreamed in my early years that something like this was even possible. Just never even dreamed about it. It just, you didn't even think about it. It wasn't something to think about. We were looking at comic books, seeing rockets going to the moon, and we used to laugh. Yeah, you know. And you see where we are today on that deal. Yeah. But you know, it reminds me of different things that we used to do when we were young, very young. One of them was we used to stomp down on a soda can. Now, the soda cans back then were not aluminum cans like they are today. The soda cans and beverage cans and stuff that we had back then, they were a heavier tin, and they must have been coated on the inside so that it, you know, the liquid inside it didn't rust the can. And then they had a hard rim around the bottom of it and a hard rim around the top of it. Well, now if you take your boot, and we all wore work shoes, you know, there were tennis shoes, but for our lifestyle and the way we knocked around out there on the farm and, you know, played, and we were rough on shoes. So we usually all had a pretty good work shoe or a work boot, you know, heavy duty with a good sole on it. And if you would take one of those empty soda cans and stomp down on that soda can in the middle of it, it would collapse to where those two rims would lock onto the sole of your shoe. Yeah. And now we could walk around with that can on the bottom of our feet because it was locked onto the sole, and it would make noise, you know. Now we were big stuff then, yeah, because we could walk around and we had taps on our shoes, you know, we'd make noise. Oh yeah, yeah, just the little things, you know. I know it sounds ridiculous, but those are some of the things that we used to do. We didn't have expensive games to play. Like I said in a previous video, we didn't know what a computer was. We didn't know. Had no idea. So you went outside and you made fun. Whatever it was that you could find to do that would amuse you, that's what you did. And that's just one of the things that we found to amuse us, you know. Uh, and I'll bet you that you've heard about this before. Maybe you've even done it before. Uh, so let me know. Send me a comment. Let me know how ridiculous that was. But keep in mind, we were poor folk. You know, we didn't have money. We had one another. That was it. And what one of us wouldn't think of, the other one would, you know. So, yeah, leave me a comment and let me know what you think. But other than that, these guys are getting right on across here. I'm hoping to beat the rain. And if not, you know, maybe it won't get too wet. Maybe it won't rain too hard. And they can go ahead and get the planting done anyway. So we're going to go ahead and let these guys get on with it. And I'll get back with you in just a little bit. All right. Well, as you can see, these guys reached the other side of the field and now they're working their way back. Looks great. Won't be long and they'll have this 478 acres planted. Oh yeah. And whenever I say that we have pretty well planted corn on the majority of the farm, except for the crops where we like wheat, barley, stuff like that. And then I do have a small field of corn that we chop for silage, corn silage. And we can go into the HUD and take a look. Oh, of course we gotta wait for it to save. All right. Now, if you look at the map, this is all corn. Every bit of it is corn. This over here is soybeans, and yeah, that's we talked about that yesterday. This field up here, field 13, we can go up there. We do not own field 13 yet. Now that may be something that we'll buy this next year. But right now, I just can't afford to buy it right now. So, and I don't want to borrow any money. We have, we have enough to keep us busy. So, yeah. Eventually, we will own it all, but only as money allows, and if we see that we can afford to or have the time to work it. I mean, this is several thousands of acres that we have here, and it takes a lot of equipment. It takes a lot of time. So, but anyway, I think we're going to go ahead and let these guys get on with their getting on. And hopefully we'll beat the rain. And if not, then maybe it won't get too wet. And they can go ahead and finish this field up. So we'll just let them do their thing. And I'll get back with you in a moment. All right. Well. Yes, as you can see, we didn't quite get done with, you know, before the thunderstorm hit. However, we're not that far from being done. I think we've got a couple more rows to do, and as long as it doesn't become too wet, we're going to go ahead and see if we can knock these 2 rows out. Yeah. A good place to look would be back here on the planter. And if we look, nothing's getting all balled up because of the wetness. Everything seems to be working just fine. So yeah, we're gonna press on until we can't plant. You know, when stuff starts balling up where we can't plant, then that's when we'll call it quits. But excuse me, I'm sorry. But anyway, friendly reminder, if you've liked this content, please go down there and hit that thumbs up button. It doesn't cost you anything, but it does me a world of good. A world of good. And, you know, it's like I said, it's just a reminder, because I know I forget to hit it. So do me a favor, a big favor, and go down and hit that thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Please subscribe. If you want to get notifications of whenever I post a new video, go over and ring that bell. There isn't any of it that costs you any money at all. It doesn't cost you anything, but it does me a world of good. So anyway, I think we're gonna call it a day. I'll keep an eye on these guys as long as, like I said, as long as it doesn't get too wet out here. We're gonna let them finish planting. And as for me, the Dirt Road Farmer, as always, thank you very, very much for watching.